named your sword. Lots of people name their swords. Lots of Welcome to the Pixel Pop Movie Podcast. I'm your host this fortnight, Toby. With me this fortnight I have the burnt horribly in a fire going to kill his brother Ethan.
I'll have 2 fucking chickens.
And the let's fill the courtyard with the innocent so that she can't attack me with her dragon, Lucas.
You make me sound crazy.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Or just a giant bastard.
Yeah. Hang on, that's my role. Maybe I'm Cersei.
Yeah, maybe you're so. Yeah, exactly
That's a bit
right.
more believable. Of course, the topic of conversation this fortnight is going to be Game of Thrones, and not just Season 8. We're sort of going to do we're not going to take too long because we could be here for years, but we're going to sort of do a Season 1 to 8, the whole inclusive thing, kind of what we felt and thought about the show. We've got some spoiler-free thoughts on the Pokémon movie, and we've got some spoiler-free thoughts on the John Wick movie, John Wick Part 3. But before we dive into any of that stuff, we've got a bunch of news to get through. Please take us away, Ethan.
Suicide Squad 2 has cast David Dastmalchian as the Polka Dot Man.
Who the hell's that?
You'll know him from Ant-Man the Wasp. He's a longtime friend of James Gunn, which makes sense as this is James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's the funny-looking guy, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the Russian guy.
He's the Russian guy.
Right.
Fun fact, he was also in The Dark Knight.
He was in The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
he's the guy that takes the fall for Joker.
Okay.
So yeah, this is shaping up to be a full cast. You've got Margot Robbie back, Jai Courtney's back, Viola Davis is back, Idris Elba's in there, John Cena's still rumoured to be in there. Next we've got some news that a lot of people weren't happy about, and that is Noah Centineo is the new He-Man. Which I remember several podcasts ago when he was rumoured, Toby was like, fuck, why are they putting this fucker in there? He doesn't even look like him at all.
This boy is about 20 kilos when wet. I've seen photos of him online, and I could one-arm curl him. There's nothing to him. And I get, we don't want to do stereotypes, sure, but I don't think he could physically lift a sword.
But they're also saying here, the thing I'm reading says that he does have time to bulk up.
There's not enough junk in the world. Seriously, there is not enough junk in the world to buff this boy up. Holy shit.
A lot of people didn't think that Zachary Levi would bulk up.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but I'm serious. Have you seen this boy?
Yeah, no, I've seen him.
You go from Zachary Levi and Chuck. He was scrawny as fuck in that.
Yeah, he wasn't, yeah.
But to be fair, in Shazam, he's also wearing a padded suit.
No, he is not.
It is slightly padded. They did confirm it's slightly for his one, but he did chuck on a shit ton of muscle.
I agree.
I
agree, but I think this is. I mean, look, prove me wrong. Let me leave it at that. Prove me wrong, but I don't think he's going to be able to get anywhere close to a size that people will find that it's believable.
Next, we have apparently straight from Ron Howard's mouth that a Willow series may be coming to Disney Plus. It has been pitched, but it may be coming.
That would be fucking sweet.
I'm indifferent. I've seen it once. Yeah, sure, it was okay, whatever.
I didn't actually realise that Willow was under Disney.
It's Lucas. Well, it's a Lucasfilm film.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. One of the few forays outside of Star Wars and all the rest of it. Yep.
Yeah, no, I didn't realise it was Lucasfilm. That's cool.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they bring any of the cast back, because all the main cast are still alive, by and large.
Warwick Davis.
Yeah, Warwick Davis.
I'm not sure about Val Kilmer, though. He's the worst for where he's
alive, quote unquote. And then, what's-her-face, who plays the lead female?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
No, the chick.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she's the redhead. She's still alive and kicking. She's doing stuff. Yeah, she's a bit saucy. Anyway.
In incredibly high demand as well.
Yeah. Next we have Indiana Jones 5. 5 is reportedly getting a rewrite. No surprises there.
Is it being rewritten where it won't come out?
I mean,
well, the chap who was originally... Because this sort of stems off the last rumour, was that the chap who was working on it is apparently moving into the Willow TV show. So they've had to bring in Dan Fogelman to do a rewrite and work on the Indy 5 script.
Fogelman? Why does that name ring a bell?
He's done some movies. So Cars, Bolt, Tangled. The Guilt Trip, Las Vegas.
No, I know what I know him.
Life Itself.
I know what I know him from. He's the guy that created Gallivant, which is underrated as hell. It's like a musical TV show. Yeah, and he also is the main guy behind This Is Us, the TV show.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, which is
so he's done some stuff.
He's doing incredibly well.
Oh, well,
But it's more of a drama where you got something like Indie, which is a bit more action adventure.
definitely a lot of action. Yeah.
You
Action
know,
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, like, from what I can see, like a lot of his stuff has been drama/comedy, so
That's all right.
it's gonna be interesting. But then again, who thought the Russos would make a fucking good movie in Winter Soldier? You know?
Next, we go into some sad news, and that is actor Peter Mayhew has passed away.
Yeah, age 74, the original Chewbacca.
74, original Chewbacca, yeah.
Well, and while we're doing these, Doris Day has also passed away, age 97.
Yeah.
A couple of losses, but oh well.
Yep. Now moving on, we had a very big trailer drop in the past 3 weeks, and that is the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Official trailer.
Yes, which actually comes with a warning too. Which
Yeah,
I imagine was bolted on by Marvel, because they were really against all this sort of...
yeah, they wanted the
early
marketing to wait.
Yeah.
Well, it was the Russos that actually put the spoiler ban up, or like the spoiler ban was going to end on that Monday that they conveniently dropped the trailer. So
Yeah. And this opens up a whole lot of possibilities, potentially. Because judging from who the villain is, this might not open up possibilities and could be a lot of shit.
Could
Not
be.
the movie itself, just certain things.
it has definitely opened Pandora's box in terms of what they can do in the future, just from the trailer. You know,
Because it's pretty much referencing the multiverse, and that's, you know...
Yeah, but if you know Mysterio from the comics, he could be all shit, and he may just be lying.
Yes.
Next, we had a trailer for Watchmen coming to HBO.
Yeah, this looks interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. I love the movie, so I'm hoping this will be good.
Yeah, well, with the series, it looks like they're going to be able to dive into a lot more.
Well, yeah, it's set after where the comics and movie are.
Yeah, it's like
So
30
it's not a
years.
direct adaptation.
Like it's a fair way after.
Yeah, it's a fair way after. I don't think
know,
it connects to the movie, but it is a fair way after.
So I thought it did because there was talk that Jeremy Irons is playing Ozymandias.
Yeah, he is. That is who he's playing.
Yeah, which to me would tie into the movies or at least the comic book.
Which means it might actually be set present day, almost then. If he's that age, it'll be set present day or just after. Because the other one was set in the 80s, wasn't it?
Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen was set in the 80s, wasn't it? 70s, 80s?
Oh, shit.
So it'll be set modern day if it's like 30 years after.
Oh, 85, yeah.
85, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, so...
30 years on, it'll be set almost modern day. If it is around 30 years.
Yeah, shit, it would be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway, it was only a 1 minute 20 seconds long. Not a lot shown, but a lot teased for potentially going to be good.
Yeah, I'm kind of pumped. I only saw Watchmen very recently for the first time, and I watched like the 3 hour, like the uncut version.
Oh, the director's cut.
Yeah, because I got told that was better. Like, I've spoken my piece on Zack Snyder for the most part, but I got told that the director's cut was really good, so I sat down and watched it, and I actually really liked it. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do for a TV show.
Next, we had a trailer for It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Coming out in September.
Yeah.
So
This is
we'll
looking...
rephrase that. It's a 90-second clip, and then 60 seconds of trailer footage.
Yeah. Okay,
But that clip was fucking cool.
That's what they showed at CinemaCon last year or early this year. It's the same footage.
It is the same footage.
Yeah.
Wicked. Yeah, no, it looks cool. Not a lot of Pennywise, but obviously we know what he looks like. It was more focusing on what the kids look like now, and I'm all on board with Bill Hader in that movie. He looks sick.
But this should be interesting.
The whole cast looks cool.
Oh yeah, solid, definitely. Next, we had a trailer for Rumour of the World coming to Netflix on this Friday. Kind of Goonies, Stranger Things, all sort of rolled into one sort of thing.
Yeah, that looked cool. I completely actually forgot about that until you mentioned it. But yeah, it looks really fun. It looks like that kind of Stranger Things Goonie crossover.
Yeah.
But more updated to today. Toby grunting because he doesn't like good things.
I do like good things. It's just... And I know I'll enjoy it. Like, I'll watch it. I know I will enjoy it. But it's sort of like... I know I would enjoy a bowl of sugar, but it's not good for me. You know what I mean? It's just... It came... I watched it and went... This ticks every trope and cliche checkbox on the list.
I'm with it. not every movie has to be.
I know, but it's just I would like them to punch a little higher. That's all.
I'm cool with it.
Like Stranger Things is obviously punching higher than this. You know what I mean? This just feels like sort of squeezing some extra bucks. It's kind of like that dumbass horror film that just came out that looked good, but we all went, "This is just the same as that other thing where they couldn't open their eyes." You know what I mean? Like nobody watched it because we all assumed it was just going to be the same thing but worse. Even though it was probably a good film. And I kind of got, that's what happens here. I'm like, it's probably a good film, but it's just Stranger Things, but not as good.
Nah, I'm for it. Like, realistically, a movie has to tick one of three boxes for me. Either it has to be something as good as The Departed in terms of drama. It just has to be fun, like the same feeling I had when I saw Goonies or Jurassic Park for the first time. Or, it can be something that's incredibly technical that, is more of a feat of cinema. This ticks the fun box for me. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything close to Scorsese levels of writing, but as long as I can sit back for 90 minutes and enjoy some popcorn and watch some dumb shit, I'm happy with it.
Next, we had an official teaser trailer for Maleficent: Mistress of Evil in theaters October 18th. I actually started watching the first one. It was on TV the other night. I kind of got like halfway through it, and I was just thinking, fuck is this shit? I don't bother with it anymore. So this one isn't on my radar at all.
Yeah,
for others it might be, but not for me. Couldn't give two shits.
I haven't seen the first one, but I've heard it's good. But Sleeping Beauty was not a story that ever interested me at all.
No.
So I have no interest to see it. Its second trailer looked okay, I guess.
Next, we had a Red Band clip or Red Band trailer for The Dead Don't Die, which stars Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Chloe Sevigny, Tilda Swinton, Selena Gomez. Big movie.
Yeah. Now, this ticks my fun box.
Oh, the moment I saw the cast, I didn't even see the trailer. I saw the cast and I'm like, this ticks my fun box like hard. Because this is going to be crazy. Watching all these guys in a horror movie about zombies that's going to be funny. Like, it's like when you saw Shaun of the Dead for the first time.
I mean, Shaun of the Dead was good, but this one does not, hold my interest at all in the slightest.
Really?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I think I'm just over, zombie shit, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, sure the cast is good, but there's been so much zombie shit, I'm kind of fatigued by it. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for Zombieland 2, but I'll probably just be like, alright, whatever.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like, zombies have kind of done their dash. I think Walking Dead's kind of also killed the zombie...
Oh, 100%
the zombie thing, because, 100% they came in at the peak of the wave of, hey, look, zombies are cool again. And then they've ridden the same wave all the way down to when it's crap. So...
I'm keen for the cast and the humour, not the zombies. You could take the zombies out and I'd still watch it.
I mean, yeah, sure, the cast is solid, but not enough. Right? Not enough. Bill Murray's overrated as fuck. So. We've had this conversation before.
I did it purely debate.
Okay. Fucking overrated as fuck. You hear that, Bill Murray? I know you listen. Fuck off. Don't join the next Ghostbusters, you shit. Give me another fucking Kingpin.
Speaking of that, you might as well segue into that now.
Oh, fuck, you're alright. Bill Murray said that he would be interested in appearing in Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters 3.
Good. Do it.
We had a trailer for Das Boot, which Toby linked. I have no idea what this movie is.
Okay, so I'll give you the short version. So Das Boot is a book originally that was then converted into a film by Wolfgang Petersen. It's a story of German U-boat. It's not pro-Nazi, and if anything, the original book was very anti-war, and it really shows that. I really still love that throwaway line in the first Captain America movie where the Doctor says that, a lot of people forget that the first country the Nazis invaded was their own. And you watch the original Das Boot movie, it's an amazing movie, mind you. There's German soldiers who really don't want to be there. And then you sort of got the Nazi propaganda guy that's sort of forcing them to stay in line. And you can see they don't want to be there and they're just sort of doing their job. But it's a very tense film, and but it's a sausage fest because it's World War II and it's German soldiers in a submarine, and obviously to sort of create a bit of diversity, broaden the interest of get more viewers, they've added this whole meanwhile on the shoreline sort of thing, which gives it a bit of a what's that bloody Amazon show we've been watching?
High Castle.
Yeah, to give you a bit more of that kind of drama. And it's good that I suppose that the sailors are still speaking German when they're in the boat scenes, but I think this is pitched more at people who liked Man in the High Castle rather than trying to romance fans of the original film. Because
so it's straight historical, nothing fantasy, sci-fi.
No, it's based on. It is loosely based on. The story is loosely of Dustwood is loosely based on facts. Yes, it was original boat.
Okay.
These sorts of things happened, but the idea of the movie is to create a sense of claustrophobia and tension, and it does that very well. But it's a German film from the 80s and they don't speak English. Yeah. It's not the sort of thing a lot of people would watch. I have like the special edition on Blu-ray because it's a fucking amazing film. But I don't think this TV show is for me. It's not made for me. It's made for people like yourself who enjoyed Man in the High Castle and want something a bit more.
Next we had a trailer for the movie for Toby, and that is Angel Has Fallen. Which is sequel to Olympus Has Fallen. And
yeah. I just threw it out there. I'd seen it because I've seen the first two. They're not bad. They're just a brainless kind of action film. It's got bloody what's his face.
Gerard Butler, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. They're not bad films. They kind of try and be a bit diehardish. They're alright. I just noticed that there was a third one coming out.
Next we had a first look trailer at Batwoman coming to the CW. Now, it was originally a pilot. She appeared in the crossover last year with Flash and Arrow, and now she's getting her own series. Doesn't look too bad. To be honest, she was actually not too bad in the crossover, so this could potentially be good. With Arrow ending its run later this year, this could be a good takeover.
Yuck.
We have 3 new Star Wars films will start arriving in 2022.
Knights of the Old Republic!
It's very heavily rumored to be Knights of the Republic. Kathleen Kennedy has said they are looking into that, and this is the movies that are being handled by David Benioff and what's his name?
D.B. Weiss.
Yeah, D.B. Weiss from Game of Thrones.
I'm with it. Shut up, Toby. Shut up, Toby.
Oh boy!
Shut up, Toby.
Also, they also released a whole bunch of more information following all the other movies that are coming. Now, going on to further for some Disney news, Disney has gained complete control over Hulu after buying out Comcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, this could mean big things purely because Disney has stated that they do not want R-rated stuff to be on Disney+. So why not buy another streaming service and move over all their R-rated Fox content onto that?
Yep. Yeah.
Next, we had Chadwick Boseman is to play an African samurai in Yasuke. Apparently, it's based on a true story about the first African man to go to Japan and becomes a samurai. Could be an interesting movie.
Fair enough.
Shows that he's spreading his wings. We also have a cliffhanger reboot where the female lead is in the works. Jason Momoa is apparently in a cameo. Who wants to bet he's the character at the start that falls off the fucking rope?
Yep, probably.
I mean, it was a raccoon in the original, so why not replace it with Jason Momoa?
It wasn't a raccoon.
No, it was the Ace Ventura one, he had the raccoon.
Yeah, fair enough.
We had Mindhunter Season 2 is to premiere on Netflix this August.
Bring it on. Yeah, it's really good. I love first season. Wife's reading the book. Good shit.
Wasn't bothered with it, but some people are. Coming to America.
It's because you're a fucking shitlord.
Another thing that I don't care about, Coming to America 2 is delayed for 4 months to December 2020.
Yeah.
The Rock has announced that Jumanji 3 has wrapped filming for a release later this year in December to go against Star Wars. Yeah, they want it because it did so well. It made almost $1 billion going against Last Jedi. Yeah. So they want to do that again this year with Rise of the Skywalker.
Still haven't watched it because I'm waiting for it to hit streaming.
Good. It's
very
good.
I
know. Everyone said it's good, and I'm like, okay, fine, I will sit down and watch it, but it's not available.
I mean,
I would recommend seeking it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as Shrek, but it's damn close.
What's with the Shrek stuff?
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Are you fucking 6? Jesus.
And next, big news: the Mortal Kombat movie will be filmed in Australia, down in Adelaide. Now, I'm all for a Mortal Kombat movie, but the Street Fighter movie was filmed in Australia. I'll leave it at that. It's going to be filmed in Adelaide. They said featuring local crews and talent. Hopefully, they might get 1 or 2 big stars to film it to actually draw people in, and then have the rest filmed up with unknown. There's been a bunch of stuff I've seen on social media about if they do a live-action movie, who could play certain characters, and all of those look fucking great. You get Terry Crews to play Jax, Chris Pratt to play Johnny Cage. It all works out well. Not going to happen anyway.
Nah.
There'll probably be some shitty Australian actors from like Home and Away, Neighbours, or McLeod's Daughters, or some shit that no one cares about. Alright, moving on, we have Taika Waititi's live-action Akira movie is set to begin filming on July 15th. Casting is currently underway. The movie sounds like it's going to be absolute shit given the synopsis that's released, but Taika Waititi may turn it around. Leonardo DiCaprio is a producer on the movie as well. Chris Rock doing a Saw movie, another bit of news.
This is like getting shotgun blasted in the face when you wake up in the morning. Who the fuck expected this?
I mean, it's not surprising. Danny McBride, who's a known comedian, and he wrote and produced the Halloween,
yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. As I said, Rock's done some amazing writing. Like, he did Madagascar, which I love, and I'm really keen to see what he can do with it. But it just came out of nowhere. That was all. It was sort of like, wow.
Can we just say
the fucking Jigsaw movie as well?
Can we just say that Toby's basically comparing his writing on Madagascar to a fucking torture porn film?
Yes, because good writing is good writing.
Next we have some big news, and that is the casting of the new Batman and Matt Reeves' The Batman movie. Now, it looks like it's down to Robert Pattinson and Nicholas Hoult. And Nicholas Hoult will no doubt be free from his ties to the X-Men with Dark Phoenix when that comes out, whenever it is, no one cares, I can't remember. So it's June down 6th. To those two. Is it June 6th?
To be fair, I shouldn't laugh at Patterson because he's an accomplished actor, and I've seen him in other stuff, and he's quite good.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
and we all laughed at like fucking Ben Affleck when he did, but he did.
But the thing with Patterson is he did the Twilight movies. Well, he did Harry Potter. He did fourth Harry Potter movie. Then he went to doing Twilight, and he's been shit on because of his choice from Twilight. He's been pumping out indie movies and getting critical acclaim from them for years. He's been doing some really solid work, so this could be a potential solid choice. But because of his past in Twilight, no one wants to give him that chance.
Yeah, and it's the same with Affleck, and Affleck proved everybody wrong. I mean, he hasn't stuck around, but I mean, he owned that role just fine. So I'm sure if he gets a chance, he'll do the same.
I mean, Nicholas Holt's a great actor too, so even him going at it, that'll be good.
But obviously we're going back to a younger Batman, though.
Definitely. It's going to be a more actual detective Batman we're going to get as well. With potentially Catwoman and the Penguin as the villains, where Josh Gad has been rumoured to be the villain been Penguin for a very long time. For a couple of years he's been teasing Penguin. So we could quite possibly get that too.
Cool.
Wrapping everything up pretty soon. We've got Kung Fury 2. We'll start filming soon. Starring Michael Fassbender, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and David Hasselhoff.
Of the entire episode, Kung Fury is so good.
Next we have Stephen King's The Eyes of the Dragon and works at Hulu and Fox 21.
Woohoo!
Kind of like a young adult book for Game of Thrones. What they're trying to go against.
Yeah,
so now Game of Thrones is done. We have a Game of Thrones prequel series coming out. We also have Amazon working on Lord of the Rings series. And then we get this.
It's not Game of Thrones.
What's what this is? It says young adult answer the Game of Thrones with the deadline article.
It's not. It's not even.
Well, then why'd you link this one?
I linked it, but it's not Game of Thrones.
Well, find a proper title.
Sure. Okay, so The Eyes of the Dragon is probably the only real fantasy novel that King ever wrote, and he wrote it for one of his kids, because his kids was like, all you ever write is horror. But it's also a origin story for the character of Flag in many ways. And it's got some interesting ideas in it. It is a little political, certainly, but it's nowhere near as grand in scope as Game of Thrones. But I enjoyed the book. I'd read it to sort of completion and enjoyed it. And I'd be interested in seeing this on the screen.
We've got two more bits of news. John Wick 4 is scheduled for a 2021 release date. Spoilers for those that haven't seen the third one. Now you know there's going to be a fourth.
Yeah, right? I honestly thought there was only going to be a trilogy. So the fact that it's four... The fact that there's a 4 announced is a spoiler, right?
Our last bit of news, which dropped today, is that Sony is starting up its own movie TV studio that'll turn PlayStation games into movies and shows. They've pretty much sat back from a distance, watched what Marvel did with their studio, and thought, all right, we can do this rather than outsourcing all our IPs to other studios. We're going to do it ourselves in-house.
Right.
Oh so my god, are we getting the Uncharted movie?
Well, the Uncharted movie's been in the works for a while with Tom Holland attached to it, but we're most likely that'll probably go forward more with Sony Studio. It also gives potential for so many other movies. We've already had a Ratchet and Clank movie come out, an animated one of that. There was a Sly Cooper movie. We had a Heavenly Sword animated movie. We could potentially get God of War, Shadow of the Colossus. We could get a whole bunch of movies based off IPs. Now that they're focusing it all on
You could also get a big steaming pile of shit.
We could do.
All right.
That's news, yeah.
Let's move on to some spoiler-free Pokemon, please.
Pokemon was actually really fucking good. The humor was on point, especially with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he's good for his comedic timing and his humor. He was great. CGI was great for the Pokemon. They all looked fantastic. Story was a bit a little predictable at some points, but overall it was a really enjoyable film.
Question: I'm an older generation. I don't follow Pokemon. I know nothing about Pokemon.
Do you want to know what a Pokémon is?
No, I don't. What I want to know is it just Ryan Reynolds, or are you able to suspend that belief? And is he Pikachu?
Well, he's Pikachu.
I know he plays Pikachu, but if I go and watch this movie, am I going to go, it's just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds?
No, it's Ryan Reynolds being a Pikachu.
Alright.
I'll be honest, from the trailers, it's very much felt like it's Ryan... Because Ryan Reynolds, for the longest time, has played a character, like a caricature of himself in a lot of roles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could totally see Ryan Reynolds being Van Wilder, or you could see him being a multitude of, like, Wade Wilson. Whereas, like, just hearing him in Detective Pikachu, even from like watching interviews and stuff, he's like, I don't have to be a character. I can just kind of like, he's just himself. And to me, that's weird.
It kind of is.
Okay, but if you like Pokemon, it's you won't be sad. No one's going to...
You won't be sad unless you don't see your favourite Pokemon like I did, and then you'll be fucked off, but sure.
Right, but most normal people that have like most of their brain intact will enjoy the film.
What are you talking about? Charizard's in the trailer.
Fuck Charizard. He's the worst fucking fire one. I want fucking Cyndaquil.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
Won't you tell me no?
Alright, cool.
So it's good movie. If you've got kids, go take them. There's a few frightening scenes. Cover their eyes, cover their ears, kick them out the theatre.
There is some...
Watch it yourself.
So Shazam kind of spooky level, or...?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, alright. So definitely don't take like 5 or 6 year olds then, because they'll have trouble sleeping.
Nah, unless you're a giant man baby, don't go either.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, don't go, Toby.
I won't.
It's well after your generation. You shouldn't go anyway.
Oh, mate, I understand. I'll just go listen to my Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, fuck you, that old. All right.
I'm not, but anyway. Okay, so let's move into then some spoiler-free, and I don't know how much spoiler-free we can get, but some spoiler-free John Wick 3. Please, Lucas.
It's good.
Thanks, Lucas. Okay.
I'll be honest, like, I kind of had a bit of a thing on Facebook to all my friends, but, like, it is probably one of the best action films I have ever seen. Like, better than Die Hard, better than Terminator 2. It starts, and the movie starts, so the movie, like, literally picks up seconds after John Wick. If you've seen John Wick 2, if you've seen John Wick 2, you know what happens to lead into this film.
Yeah.
And it just, from the opening seconds, it doesn't hold up all the way through till the closing credits.
Can I throw a comparison at you, and that being that, not talking storyline, but here, just non-stop, wall-to-wall action, Mad Max Fury Road. Because if you think about that movie, there's sort of there's like 10 minutes of nothing, and then an hour and a half of just screaming.
Yeah. So Fury Road had long sections of nothing. Like, it was more character development type stuff.
Did it really?
We're at a point where... Yeah.
To me, it was just bang, 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 bang.
Don't get me wrong, the action set pieces in it are fantastic. Like, Fury Road's probably... Again, Fury Road's a phenomenal film. I really enjoyed it more than I ever thought I would, but there's a lot of... You don't realize it, I guess, because there's so... When the action scenes kick in, you get so invested. There's a lot of character moments in that movie that kind of...
Yeah, but usually while the truck is on the road. Anyway, let's look at it. I was just using it as a comparison for a level of action.
I get where you're coming from. John Wick has more action.
Okay.
It just, the moment it starts, it doesn't stop. Like, it's... And then the action scenes as well are fantastic. Out of nowhere, Mark Dacascos he needs to be in more things. Like, I feel like... Mark Dacascos was big in the 90s. He was the guy who ended up replacing Brandon Lee as the Crow after Brandon Lee's accident. And nothing ever really happened with him. He just kind of sort of faded away into obscurity. And by that, I mean he ended up being the host of Iron Chef. And he's done a lot of that because he's known with his cooking for some weird reason. But he's also a black belt in like 7 martial arts. And then he randomly just got pulled into this John Wick universe, and like obviously with number 4, like I want him to be in another John Wick movie. I want him in more movies because there's a side of Mark Dacascos that I've never seen before in that film, and I just want more of it. Halle Berry was genuinely fucking awesome.
Okay, I'm not usually a big fan of her, so
Halle Berry. So the trailers kind of did, in a sense, a Joker of Halle Berry. Halle Berry isn't really in the movie that much, but her parts are fantastic, and they're obviously setting her up for more. But no, it's definitely worth going to see, especially if you've seen the first 2. It's the best one of the trilogy, one of the best action films I've ever seen.
Yeah, we might take the family. All right, so that's news. That's our spoiler-free thoughts on Pokemon and
Detective Pikachu and John Wick,
and John Wick 3. We're now going to do some discussion on Game of Thrones. Specifically, of course, the TV show, not the book. So we're not here to talk about book. We're talking about the show. We're talking about all 8 seasons. Who would like to take the mic first?
I'll retort, because I feel like I'm going to be doing a lot of that.
All right, Ethan.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ethan.
I'll go a quick history for me for it. It came out in 2011. Never heard of it. Mum was like, "Hey, that guy from Stargate Atlantis, he likes the new TV show." I was like, "Cool, I'll watch it." I watched it. He died in the first season. I was fucked off, and I'm like, "All right." And then like Sean Bean died, and I'm like, "Wow, cool, kill Sean Bean off too. Why the fuck am I going to watch this show?" Second season starts a year later. I'm like, "Hey, this isn't too bad. A lot of titties in here. This is pretty good. Keep watching it."
Because you're how old at this stage?
17, 18.
Yeah. So like hormones in overdrive, right?
Oh, fucking hell.
I was going to say 12.
I'm not that fucking young, Jesus.
I want Daenerys!
I'm like, yeah, like season 2 came along, I'm like, wow, cool. Dragons, little baby dragons, cool. 3, hey, a bunch of fighting, cool. 4, hey, that Jon Snow guy's pretty fucking cool. 5, oh, that Jon Snow guy's pretty fucking cool. Oh, he's dead. Fuck this show, I don't want to watch it anymore. Season 6, hey, that's a pretty good fight scene. And then season 7 comes along, I'm like, wow, shit's ramping up. We've only got one more season left. How's this going to end? And then season 8 comes along, and it's good. And I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Did you want more?
No, that's fine. It's fine. I, by and large, as a whole piece, it's a must-watch. It's a roller coaster ride. It's extremely enjoyable, and I mean, I own most of it on Blu-ray. I just need to get the rest. The problem, of course, is the elephant in the room, and this is.
There weren't any elephants. You couldn't get them.
That's right. We did a poll on the Pixel Pop Network Facebook page, actually, asking. I'll click it to see where we're at. Asking people what they thought of the final season, and I'm pretty sure it was pretty much down the middle. It's shifted slightly. We had a few more votes. It's currently at 54%. It was 52%. It was terrible. 48%. It was good. So there's some clear division there. Is the takeaway? I think that the problem with the last probably 2 seasons is simply that it was rushed. But why was it rushed? Okay, it's a TV show. You've got actors under contract. Time is not infinite. Money is not infinite. Fatigue had set in for some people. I think if you were going to do the show and round it out properly, it probably would have been 10 seasons. 10 years for an actor, director, producer, set designer is an amazingly long time. That's ridiculously long. I'm not convinced that everybody that sat down at that table for the first meeting quite knew what they were getting themselves into, and that's probably part of the problem. Yeah, look, it ended well enough. I just think, especially with season 8, it just went too quickly, especially when you compare it to the first few seasons. And that was a little upsetting, and I think that's probably why most people have beef. I don't think the writing was particularly bad. I mean, the acting and everything was great, as always. It's just that it was rushed. I would have liked to have had more time, and I'm sure everybody involved in making the show would have liked to have had more time. But they didn't, and they did the best they could with what they had. And unfortunately, look, at least it got 8 seasons. There's so many good TV shows out there that never got past 1 or 2 seasons. And this sort of shit being rushed is not uncommon. We've seen it in other things too. So, for what it is, it's good, it's iconic, it's memorable, it will be remembered. And much like when Lord of the Rings first came out, for me as someone who's a big fantasy nerd, it was really exciting, not only because I love Lord of the Rings, but it was going to open up the doorway to other fantasy films being made. And that was really exciting for me. And Game of Thrones has done the same thing for TV shows. It said, hey, look, fantasy TV is acceptable, we should watch this. Other shows have done it, but it's sort of, fads come and go, and now it's back on in a big way, and we're now getting, a Lord of the Rings TV show, we're getting a Magician TV show, we're getting all this other stuff, and that's awesome. So, as a fan of fantasy, it's a great time to be alive, because we're going to get to enjoy so much more stuff, and that's all thanks to Game of Thrones.
Cool. There are going to be conversations in the next couple of weeks about where this show is going to sit in terms of all-time greats, because you're going to have stuff like... I'm not saying this is an all-time great, but you're going to have conversations about shows like Sopranos. Well, sorry, I haven't seen Sopranos, but that's not the one I was going to say. Sons of Anarchy, stuff like Lost, Dexter, all stuff that had very strong opening seasons that...
faltered.
Whether or not it was, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this as an oversimplification, but whether it was bad writing, bad directing, bad decisions, fan support that went away for whatever reason, it seems like a lot of shows are remembered for how they start just as much as they're remembered for how they end, but people kind of ignore how they end when they come up with the conversations of what some of the greatest TV shows are going to be. Game of Thrones is definitely going to be a top 10 show for a long time. But I feel like my opinion is that the last 2 seasons, while yes, some elements of it were rushed, you got to remember, while yes, Weiss and Benioff were given 10 episodes for season 7 and 10 episodes for season 8, and they were like, no, we can cut this down to 13. You got to remember that each book got 10 episodes, but the last book got 13, because Season 6 is still book 6. Season 7 and Season 8 is book 7. So, even though, they could have had 20 episodes to do the last book, 20 episodes is a long period of time to tell the story of one book. And there are elements where, I was talking to friends at work about this. They were like, so you're going to tell me in one episode she went from Winterfell to Dragonstone in the space of 10 minutes in an episode. Chances are there was nothing important that happened on the boat, bar the conversation between Tyrion and Varys about what is to happen. I don't know if we're getting into spoilers, but they have a conversation about a certain event or certain information that's been revealed. And, I don't need a whole episode of them traveling from one place to another if that's the only plot element.
No, I agree. I agree with you, absolutely. Yeah, and you don't need that. But I think, I've not read the books, and I can understand people who have read books obviously always have a beef with film adaptations. It doesn't matter. I have a huge problem
adaptations in general, yeah.
Yeah, I hate the Hobbit movies because I'm I love the book, that is just the nature of all things. But as someone who hasn't read the books in terms of Game of Thrones, and has just watched the TV show, the problem is, as I said, you watch those, say, first 6 seasons, there's a degree of pacing, of exposition, learning characters, this sort of stuff. And that pace is picked up sharply in those last couple of seasons. That's really the story's still there, and the acting is still good and the directing is still good, but the pace is picked up sharply, and that's sort of where, for instance, with Daenerys having her fall from grace, that could have been drawn out a bit more, as an example. We still would have got where we were going, absolutely, and I don't want you to spend half an hour showing me a tree, you know what I mean, or a ship ride. But I do feel, look, if anything, I think people who are not satisfied with the show and how it, wait for the fucking book. Because I can guarantee you the book will drag things out a hell of a lot longer. There's so many characters and plot devices in those books that never made it into the show that have to be resolved and dealt with. So, I think the TV show, the last 2 seasons, really, you can treat it as a trailer for the books, almost.
Yeah.
But for people like myself who have never read the books and probably won't, I still enjoyed this roller coaster. I think it was excellent, and it was definitely a landmark piece. But I just would have liked to have seen, maybe 10 seasons or 9 seasons with 10 episodes. I think they could have just rounded it out a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this kind of comes from the books. Technically, yes, there are 8 books. But the 3rd book was so massive they split it in half.
Yeah.
But it's officially counted as 1 book. But I'm pretty sure that the quote 3rd and 4th book, which is book 3, they still got that down into 10 episodes.
Which is crazy. That's astronomy. Yeah, it's astonishing.
There's a lot of side shit they had to get out. And essentially, what it is basically like preparing meat. You got to cut a lot of the fat to get the lean, good
absolutely.
Shit. And that's kind of what they've done with the story. They've cut a lot of stuff that was relatively unnecessary. But in saying that, though, at the same time, and I'm pretty sure I'll need to get corrected, but the White Walkers were never in the books.
They're not a major part, like they are.
Well, they are, but they're not. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. They're not.
Yeah, they're not like how they are in this.
The Night King hasn't even been introduced in the books yet.
No, and the Night King, he's been mentioned, but it's not the story he has in the show. It's different in the books.
Yeah. So,
you do need to trim fat. I agree, and they did that with things like Lord of the Rings, and they took out Tom Bombadil and whatever have you. But I felt like Game of Thrones, they trimmed the fat, and then they started trimming meat, and it'd sort of be like if you never saw Frodo and Sam after they, the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, and then the next thing you know, they throw the ring in the lava. It just. There's more beats that could have been put in there to just flesh it out a bit better.
I'm going to put a bit of a spoiler here. In the books, you have Lady Stoneheart, who's missing completely from the series. Now, in the later books, she's a big part. Beric pretty much uses his last life to bring Catelyn Stark back to life, and that's who Lady Stoneheart is. Now, and she leads the Brotherhood without banners and ends up capturing Podrick and Brienne. We don't get any of that in the show. Instead, we get Beric coming back to life several more times and fulfilling out his purpose to pretty much protect Arya into killing the Night King. Major spoilers, I said before. Obviously, did they plan that back from, that far early? They could have done. And that's why they decided not to include Lady Stoneheart, because they had this different plan for the character all along. So it's things like that set it apart, that people who still, want the books and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but as I said
gonna
before,
get different.
People who got the shits with it because they've read the books are going to get the shits with it no matter what.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, as I said, I can't stand The Hobbit, but my daughter loves it, and so we own it because she'll watch it and she loves it, and good on her. Like, she's allowed to love it. But as someone who's just watched the show, all I'm saying is it got a bit rushy. They just needed to slow it down. But I understand why they sped it up. As I said, there's each episode is now, season 8 would have cost, what, $1 billion?
No, it wouldn't have been $1 billion. Nowhere near $1 billion.
I think
wasn't it like $1 million an episode? So, I mean, by the time you put all their special effects, it's probably 1.5
I would say
an episode.
I'll say probably over 100 mil, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I think
50 to 100 mil for the season.
Yeah,
so I think
I missed a zero.
I think they said this season was 11 million an episode.
Yeah. So they gave them the budget enough to do 10. They originally asked them to do 10 episodes. They said no, we'll do 6. So they gave them the budget for 10 to do the 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, all that went on the fucking dragon.
Yeah, pretty much. But
the dragon and the battle for Winterfell.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there would have been a conversation at some point where it was like, okay, so we can give you 10 episodes with $100 million budget, or we can do 6 amazing episodes with $100 million budget, but we're going to have to double time some of these story arcs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's fine. I get that. Like, obviously, HBO is a company. They're going to make their money, and they've got to do what's right by them. It just would have been real sweet to have that extra time and money to really, because it was such a, it's such a big thing. It's going to be, next generation is going to watch this shit. Like, it was such a big deal. It just would have been nice to have that little bit of extra to sort of just really 110% it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we so I just want to say, can we get into spoilers, do a quick rating and get balls deep into spoilers?
Yeah, look,
overall, Oh, sorry,
Definitely.
you go.
No, go.
Well, I was just going to say, like, again, going back to kind of how I started, like, this is definitely going to be considered a top 10 show. Its ending amongst the fans is divisive, to say the least. But I still think, like, this is... People are going to look back on this in maybe 5 to 10 years and be like, you know what? Like, this wasn't Dexter bad. Or this wasn't Lost bad. Like, the ending of this show, everything made sense. Like, if you go back and look at how season 7 started, knowing that this basically, from season 7 to the end of season 8, that's all one book. Everything kind of makes sense, knowing what we know now, going back in, and like I said, reading over.
Unlike Lost, which you can watch to the end, start over, and still have no fucking idea what's going on.
Oh, you know what? You know what happened at the end of Lost? It's just fucking dumb. But like, it's definitely going to be a top 10 show. But I think in the next 5 years, like, people's attitudes are going to change. It's just because we don't have a book to put it against. We don't know how different it is to what Martin's vision was.
I don't think it matters though.
I think it does to a point. Like,
there's a lot of people that will never read those books.
100% there's never people that aren't going to read those books. I generally find that the people who are criticizing the show are the book fanatics. But realistically, I don't think I'm ever going to read the books. And I think that's kind of why I'm happy with where the show ended. Because, like, from a perspective of someone who's watched the show since I got season 1 after it finished, and then basically binge watched season 1 and then have pretty much watched every episode on the week from season 2 onwards. And, you know, like, this show's been part of my life for 8 years now. And watching where it started to where it's ended up, like, everything in the last episode made so much sense that I feel that those that may not have liked how it ended didn't like how it ended because it was bad, but it just didn't end the way they thought it would. And we'll get into that later for very specific reasons. But again, I thought a lot of it made sense. But I definitely think this is going to be a top 10 show forever.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. Yeah, like it'll be something. I mean, it's up there next to Knight Rider, right?
Knight Rider.
What the fuck are you talking about? But no, I agree with like Luke is saying that it'll be one of the top 10 TV shows. You're seeing up there among some greats, as people say, like Sopranos. I've never seen Sopranos. Everyone raves on about it. You've got things like Breaking Bad, which were just amazing all the way through. It had a great season, like series finale.
Yeah,
it was fucking great.
I think Breaking Bad was great. Breaking Bad to me is probably number 1.
Like, Dexter was good up until it's like season 8. Dexter was good up until season 8. Was utter fucking shit. Sons of Anarchy, I'm pretty sure ended on season 8. Was fucking shit. Lost ended on season 6, which was shit as well. Lost was season 6. So I mean, like, it's gonna be in like one of those top tiers where people go like, "Oh, this is such a great series," and then be like, "Oh, just don't watch the last season." Like, "Oh yeah, Scrubs was a great season. The last season never happened. This is what Game of Thrones is gonna go down." It's gonna be one of those shows where everyone raves on about it being such a great show. They'll be like, "Oh, just don't watch this season because it's pretty shit." It'll be like that.
Yeah.
Like, you have like Lost is like that, Dexter's like that.
To be fair, too, there's a lot of the actors weren't too impressed with how things wrapped up either.
No, I mean, like, which is understandable. You're playing a character for 8 years of your life. You're in that role for like 9 months of a year.
Again, like,
you have it in your head that your character's going to do this and that.
Yeah. But I think the misconception here is that, you know, a lot of the critiques are not what happens. I see that, but a lot of the critiques aren't what happens in the story. It's not who wins and who dies and all that sort of stuff. The critiques is just how it was handled. That's the biggest bone of contention, is how it was done. So, and I think that's where I don't think Emilia Clarke is particularly upset. Right, we're definitely in spoiler territory here. Upset that she dies. I think she was just upset about her character arc in that final season.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's just it's things like that. I said it came down to pacing, and because of the lack of time, things like character development and motivations and all this sort of stuff were thrown out the window. And I think that's what upset. Certainly, that's what bothered me, and I think that's what upset some of the cast as well. Was that they weren't getting any real character moments.
No,
because they just didn't have time.
The only problem that I had with I didn't really have much of a problem with the last season. I enjoyed it. I had one problem with the final episode, and that was I would have liked to have someone other than Bran become king, but there's no one else that would have really suited it. Joel wasn't going to fucking do it. Sansa didn't want it. Arya didn't want it.
But see, even those sorts of things, they were very rushed. Like, here's all these lords, and by the way, here's some kid that you don't know. Oh, he's your king. Like, those things in the book, I'm sure it's still going to be the same, but there will be more information that will explain why those lords trusted him in the end.
Yeah.
He will do some miraculous shit in the castle or whatever, or in the battle, whatever. Some shit that will convince them, other than, the imp says so. You know what I mean? Like, there's moments, and that's the sort of thing that I understand. This is where we were always going, but I just feel like there was information left out just through time restraints. Because you look at it and you go, think about it, most of those characters have never met the Stark kids. And then within 5 minutes, they've chosen him as a king. Like, that just doesn't make sense, right?
No.
The majority of people, though, at that final... we're in spoilers now, but everyone that was at that meeting knew Bran.
Did they have...
The only person that probably didn't was the guy from Dawn.
Oh, I don't know if Titty Boy met him either.
Yeah, no, he did.
Did he?
Well, yeah, they were cousins. They are cousins.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, that's true,
Yeah, but how well did they know him? Well enough to pick him as a king? Do they know what he was capable of? Who he was now?
Here's the thing. They didn't pick him as a... Sure, they did pick him as a king in the end. But all of them know Tyrion. They all know what he's like. So they all listened to his speech that he made, and he pretty much convinced them to be, okay, yeah, Bran's the right choosing for a king.
I know.
It's not going off them just convincing, being like, oh, sure, we'll take this guy as a king. They're taking Tyrion's
but hang on. But you're talking about someone that's going to rule your country for the next several decades. This is not something you just go, oh, yeah, all right then. It's not like what you choose on Netflix. That's what I mean. That's how they treated it, and it doesn't make sense.
But it was also the most logical conclusion, though.
You don't walk into a room of women and go, "Oh, I'll marry this one." Yeah, right.
Yeah, but like them choosing Bronn, right? Okay, so at the meeting was, and I'm trying to remember the circle, but it was Sam, Edmund. I can't remember who was next to Edmund Tully. Then it was Arya, Bran. Sansa.
Actually, no. Next to Sam was Next to Sam was actually a bottle of water first.
The bottle of water. The iconic bottle of water that has started its arc in season 1 when Dany came out of the fire. She got a bit thirsty, but so then it was okay. So hang on, it was Sansa, and then next to Sansa was Brienne.
Yep, Davos.
Pod. Davos, Gendry, and then next to Gendry was fucking Titty Boy.
Yep, Titty Boy.
And then Jon Royce, and then the King from Dawn. The only person at that meeting, and then obviously you had Grey Worm, who Grey Worm had met Bran very briefly at Winterfell before the battle, and then Tyrion. Everyone there knew who Bran was. Everyone knew about the Three-Eyed Raven and all that shit. They don't understand it, but they know it. But
how the fuck did 3 Starks get a vote, by the way?
How did 3?
All these...
They're the only main house that's left that has more than one member.
The rest got fucking obliterated.
You also had Yara, so I got the list here.
Oh, sorry, the Greyjoys, Yara's there too.
Sansa, Brandon, Arya, Yara, Brienne, Davos, Gendry, Sam, Jon Royce, Robin Arryn, Edmure Tully. That's what it says here.
Yeah. I'm just saying it could kind of make sense, but it probably needed a bit more explaining. That's all I'm saying. And that's the sum up that whole last season. This stuff makes sense, and the conclusions are fine. They just needed a bit more. Is that fair?
Nah, I agree with some of it, but I agree.
Give me a little.
I agree with some of it. I agree with some of it, but I agree with some of it. I don't, because the logical choice was, and they kind of give you Tyrion explains why. It's because, to an extent, Bran really has no emotional investment in the realm. He'll make decisions that are smart.
Of course, we know that because we've watched him for 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Here's the plot hole. What happens when Dothraki lose their Carl? Don't they go on a big rampage? Why didn't that happen with Daenerys?
No, they actually split and multiply like gremlins, because that's how she had Dothraki at the end of the show after they all got annihilated.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing we could talk.
But we should stop because we've been going for a long time.
Oh boy, we could go for a long time.
We could go for a long time. And this is the thing though, like, if nothing else, look, this will go on for a long time and people will be discussing this TV show and these books for years to come. I guess the takeaway here is if you're a fan of the books, at least you got something, for right or wrong. Because there's so many books that I can think of that I love and I would love to see some sort of film or series adaptation that I'm never going to get. I mean, I've got Magician coming out now. For a lot of people, you get Lord of the Rings when you're a kid. I got handed Magician when I was 12, and I blasted through that book, and I love it. I'm already preparing myself for a TV show that's not going to be anywhere near as satisfying for me as my childhood remembrance of that book. There's no way it can live up to that expectation. But I'm blessed that I'm going to get something. So, you kind of need to be thankful, I guess. And sure, be realistic. You were never going to get the books word for word. It was never going to happen. But you got a pretty damn good version. You got 8 seasons of it, and it got a healthy budget. And it's opened the door for a lot of other cool stuff to come in through behind it. So it did more good than bad, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But I would still say, wait, I mean, I've obviously like a number of people, I've sort of got like the first 4 seasons on Blu-ray, which I might try and quietly palm off, because go and buy the box set. Wait till JB Hi-Fi does 20% off.
I'm doing,
and just go buy the 8 season box set. That's the way to do it.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Because you will watch it again. You will.
Yeah.
It won't be every year, but you'll watch it again. So, all right. Well, what have we got at the cinema between here and next fortnight? Anything?
Well,
Netflix or
Brightburn and Aladdin
Brightburn,
and then
Aladdin.
Godzilla.
Gonna pull some glass out of our eyeballs.
Me and Lucas are going to be hitting up Godzilla next week, hopefully. So.
And then we've got that show on Netflix this Friday night. The
movie, the
kids movie thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I haven't watched it yet, but I plan on doing it very soon. There's a new TV show on Netflix called Dead to Me that looks fantastic. It's got Hawkeye's wife in it from the Avengers movies, and it's also got Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
It looks very, very funny in terms of like dark comedy.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back next fortnight, so make sure you tune in. We'll have some shit to talk about. Thank you very much to our Patreon supporters who help make this podcast possible. It's much appreciated. We hope you join us next fortnight. Until then, signing off.